There's never been a better time to start growing your own vegetables if you've never done it before. We're going to talk about a few things you can start acquiring now to get a garden going early this spring. This video is intended for the beginner, and it also depends very much on where you're located regionally. So you're going to have to do a bit of research about what grows in your area and when the best time to start planting is. The first thing you're going to need is a pen and paper and a plan. Start sketching out the area you have available and what you envision putting in there. So if you have a balcony, can you fit one little pot? Do you have a window ledge that you can put something in your kitchen? Or do you have an area outside you can put a raised bed? Start just envisioning how much space you have and what you can put in that space. If you're going to plant something indoors to get it started, the next thing is to think about what vessel you're going to use to pot your things. So the two main things you can find at places like Walmart and the dollar store are either these soil pellets or little pots that you can add soil to. So you just buy a bag of seed starter. So these are soil pellets, and what you do is you add water to this and they puff up really big. I'm going to make one as an example. This is how the pellet looks when it has absorbed water, and it just works as a little tiny place to start your seeds. So you follow the directions, but you put the seed in there, and I think it's better for seeds that take a while to germinate, because what can happen is it outgrows this really quickly. Also, when you transplant them, you have to take this mesh off because it will not break down in the soil, so it's an extra step. So if you want to get a whole bunch of seeds started, you can see there's a really good opportunity here because it takes up not a lot of space, whereas if you're using ones of this size or this size, you can only get so many plants started. And so I think it's really trial and error to see what you prefer. Also, the conventional pots I think are a little bit less expensive, and you can also get these pots that you don't have to, they're easier to transplant because you just put it into the soil and the pot itself breaks down, whereas here you have to pull it out and you just have to be, very gentle with your plants. So those are the two main ways you can get your seeds started if you're doing it indoors. If you haven't grown a lot before, the best thing to do, I think, is just to go and check out some seeds and start reading about them. And there's a lot of ones that, for example, you can start this indoors 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost, and just experiment. But know that some plants, of course, they make a whole bunch of vegetables. Like one pea seed makes a pea plant versus one carrot seed makes one carrot. And typically the deeper rooted ones are going to be more difficult to transplant if you're moving from indoor to outdoor. So some of the ones that you can get going indoors pretty easily are cucumbers, carrots, peas, kale, and carrots and radishes aren't as recommended to transplant outdoors, but a lot of it's experimentation, and I've done it and it has worked. So a lot of it's trial and error, and that's why it's hard to find videos that tell you exactly what to do, because there is a lot of seeing what works for you and works in your area. So I just start looking at all these basic seeds and reading the packages and just jumping right in and trying it. Once you get proficient at growing your own plants, you can let them go to seed and collect their seeds from the heirloom varieties, which I've done. So these seeds can be used next time. So I have, I don't need to buy seeds because I can just use these seeds I've already got. These are dill, for example, to make new plants. Definitely label what you're growing. I love to use these straws to have the pea seedlings climb up. So I stick the straw in the soil, and as the pea shoots come up, and they can start climbing up this right away. The last thing to get for sure is some sort of a light. I think the biggest way a person goes wrong starting seedlings indoors is not having adequate light for them. They need a lot. This one I got off Amazon. I'll link it below. We are affiliated with Amazon, but Just do a bit of research for a good grow light for inside, and that will ultimately lead to quite a bit of success. So of course, another option is to skip all this and put the seeds directly into the ground outdoors, which I do for, I don't know, the majority of the things that I do grow. So this is just a way to get started and experiment, especially if you're new to this type of thing. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. We're gonna have lots of gardening videos as the season progresses, because producing your own food is a great way to save money and be prepared.